morning. Welcome to Science to Class. Students, today's talk of the day is about COVID-19. Yes, what is COVID-19? It is a virus. Yes, today we are going to discuss about some microorganisms. Our unit is microorganisms. Unit 6, microorganisms. See, what is microorganisms? See here. Do you understand anything by seeing this picture? Microbes means it is very minute. We cannot see through our naked eyes. It is there inside this room also. It is present, but we could not see the microorganisms. That's why it is called as microorganisms or microbes. But we can watch their activities. We could see the internal structures also with the help of microscope. Do you know what is microscope? See, this is microscope. With the help of microscope, we can magnify the size of the microbes. That's why we can easily see through the microscope. Even their activities also noted by us. Okay. Now, next, what is microbiology? What is microbiology? Studying about microorganisms. The science which deals with the microorganisms is called microbiology. Okay. Now, based on this size or their activities, we can divide the microorganisms into 5 categories. What are the 5 categories? First is virus. Okay. Fourth one is algae. And the last one is, fifth one is protozoa. So, what are the 5 categories in microorganisms? Virus, bacteria, fungi, algae and protozoa. Okay, before going to see, we will see one by one. Before going to see, you should know the location of the microorganisms.
Microorganisms occur everywhere. They are found in air, water, soil, and even inside our body. Some of them can even survive in extreme adverse conditions like hot springs, deserts, snow, and deep ocean.
So, you know what is microbiology and what is the location of microorganisms, and you know the 5 categories of microbes. Next, we are going to see the first one is virus. Okay. See the still. This is the internal structure of virus. Even it is very clear. Even the core present inside the nuclear core also present very clear. Please watch out. This is virus still. Okay. What is virus? It is so minute, I told you. The size is measured by microns. 5 microns, 6 microns, like that it is measured. That term only we are using. So what is virus means? It is so minute, but just it is a protein coat. A protein coat is there. It is the outermost sheath, a protein coat. What is present inside the core, the genetic material? It may be a DNA or RNA. Any one will be present. It may be a DNA having virus, or it may be a RNA having virus. Based on the varieties, different types of viruses are there. See the internal structure of the virus. This is the outermost outer structure of the virus. See, spikes are attached in the outermost envelope, protein coat. What is present? Any protoplasm is there? The living cytosol. The living protoplasm is here? No, it is missing. The protoplasm is not there in the virus. So that's why we are called as it's a non-living thing. Yes, because there is no protoplasm. That's why. But the nuclear material is present. This is the DNA or RNA helix. Okay, it is present. And see the outermost envelope. And see the spokes. See spikes. Many spikes are present. What is the purpose of the spike? What is the use of the spike? It want to attach any substratum. For example, this virus may affect one bacteria. Do you know the size difference between the virus and bacteria? 10,000 times, 10,000 times bigger than the virus. Which is bigger than the virus? Bacteria. So bacteria itself we cannot see through our eyes. But what about the size of the virus? 10,000 times less than the bacteria, this virus. So that much is so minute. So what is the use of this spike? It will attach the substratum. It will attach the other organisms, other living organisms. And it is also called as intracellular parasites. Why it is called as intracellular parasites? It will be active inside the protoplasm of other living cells like bacteria or human beings, or it may attack even plants also. So that's why it is called as intracellular obligatory parasites. Okay, so now you know about the general characteristic features of virus. And studying about virus is called virology. What is virology? Studying about virus. Usually they have one basic character. Whenever the conditions are favor, it is active. All the microorganisms are active. Whenever the conditions are unfavorable, it is inactive. It takes rest simply. It is looking like a non-living organism. It is looking like a non-living organism. See the different shapes of virus: HIV virus, hepatitis B, Ebola virus, bacteriophage, rabies, influenza, adenovirus, papilloma virus, rotavirus, herpes virus. So some may be like hexagonal heads. It may be ball-like or spherical shape, spiral shape, or polygonal shape. The shapes may be varying in different types of viruses. Next, we are going to see about the characters. What it will be? It will be it is considering as a living thing, or it may be considering as a non-living thing. That we are going to see. So 3 points are telling us virus is a living being. What are the 3 points? It can respond. Virus can respond to heat or radiations, or it may respond to chemicals also. Okay, that's why it is considered as a living thing. And it can reproduce. It can reproduce. For example, this virus may attack bacteria. It will go and sit on the cell wall of the bacteria. And what it will do after attacking, it will go inside. It will penetrate. The DNA or RNA present inside the hexagonal head will penetrate the cell wall of the bacteria and go inside, and it will start to multiplicate. Okay, it will multiply inside the bacteria. So that is called as reproduction. It is multiplying their RNAs or DNAs inside the bacteria. Then it is called as it is a parasite, and that process is called as reproduction. So it can reproduce. And the third point is it shows irritability. It shows irritability. So that's why, because of these 3 characters, we can consider the virus as a living being. And also some scientists are saying it is not a living thing. It is a non-living thing, because these are the 3 characters. These are the 3 characters. That's why we are calling it as a non-living being. First character is inactive. Whenever, I told you already, whenever the conditions are unfavor, it is present like a dead organism. It is inactive. It won't reproduce, it won't eat, it won't even breathe also sometimes. Some anaerobic microbes are there. That's why I am saying it won't breathe also sometimes. So it is inactive like a dead organism. That's why sometimes it is considered as in a non-living thing. And we can crystallize the virus. Some example. Do you know what is the example of crystal format? Daily you are adding salt in your food. It is the best example of a crystallized one. So likewise, we can make the virus. We can crystallize the virus in lab also artificially. And the third point is cytoplasm is absent. I told you when I was teaching you the internal structure of the virus. There is no cytoplasm. That is all the metabolic activities are done in the cytoplasm. That main portion is missing in virus. That's why we consider the virus as a non-living being. So it has both the characters. We cannot get one conclusion. Still we didn't get any conclusion. Topic is bacteria. Okay. So studying about bacteria is called bacteriology. Studying about bacteria is called bacteriology. It is kept under the kingdom Monera. And it is it is coming under prokaryotes. What is the difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes? You should know. What is prokaryotic organisms means? They are very simple in structure. If you see the structure, they are very simple. The nucleus is not proper. Okay. See here. Is there any nuclear envelope? No. There is no proper nuclear envelope. There is no nucleoplasm separately. So they are coming under prokaryotes. Okay. And based on the respiration, we can divide the bacteria into two types. That is aerobic bacteria and anaerobic bacteria. For aerobic bacteria, they need oxygen. With the help of oxygen only they can live. But anaerobic bacteria, it doesn't want oxygen to breathe. Without oxygen also, it's able to live inside the soil or inside the ocean or some places which is not having air, proper air. Okay, they are called as anaerobic respiration. And do you know which is the first living organism on the world, our planet, Earth? That is bacteria. Okay. Next, we are going to see the structure of bacteria. See, this is the outermost cell wall. Yes. Then the pili, or this is the flagellum. In this bacteria, only one flagellum is there. It is helping for locomotion, for the movement. If it want to move, it will rotate the flagellum and it will move in water or air. Okay. So the flagellum helps to move, or it is helping for locomotion. And if you go inside that, so protoplasm is there, but there is no proper nucleus. So you should not say nucleus. Instead, you can use the term nucleoid. Nucleoid. Okay. And a circular DNA is present. Here the circular DNA is present inside the nucleoid. And see, small projections are there. Yes, outgrowths are there. It is erased from the cell wall. They are called as pili. What is the help of pili? When the bacteria want to attach any cell, human cell or plant cell, the help of pili only it will attach the substratum. And see, here and there plasmids are there. Already one DNA is present, circular DNA is present, and this is extra. This is extra DNA particles, that is plasmids. And here ribosomes, 70S ribosomes are there. What is the use of ribosomes? They produce protein. They synthesize protein. Okay. So doctors are advising to take balanced diet, take proteinated food, take carbon rich food. Like that they are advising. So for living purpose, we need all carbohydrates, protein and fats. So likewise, even bacteria also need protein. So they have 70S ribosomes. And this is the blue color, no? This is the cytoplasm, the living material. And see, membrane, plasma membrane. Outside the plasma membrane, cell wall. Outside the cell wall, capsule is there. Yes, this is the internal structure of bacterium. See, outermost capsule, and next to that cell wall, and inner to the cell wall is the cell membrane. Inner to the cell membrane only the cytoplasm is moving. It is a moving liquid only, semi-solid liquid, and in that this nucleoid and these plasmids, ribosomes, everything is present. And some you studied in 6th standard itself, some organelles, cytoplasmic organelles, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, and Golgi complex. Where are they? They are missing here because it is a prokaryote. It is a prokaryotic organism. That's why that cell organelles, some cell organelles are not present here. Okay. So this is the structure of bacterium. Next, we are going to see the classifications based on the shape of the bacteria. Based on the shape. Okay. See here, there are 4 types of bacteria are there based on the shape. Bacilli, Spirilla, Cocci, Vibrio. Yes, see the picture. This is Bacillus type of bacteria. See the shape. Yes, this only we saw. The internal structure in the previous drill, we saw the Bacillus type only. And see the Cocci. Cocci means spherical shape. Yes, like a ball, like a small ball. That's why it is Cocci. Then see here, Vibrio. Vibrio is comma shape. It is comma shape. It can bend like this. See, we can draw like this. Comma shaped bacteria. Okay. Next is, one more is Spirilla. Spiral like a helix. It is, you can twist like this, like a spiral. So it is called as Spirilla. So these are the main 4 types: Bacillus, Cocci, Spirilla, and Vibrio. These are the 4 types of bacteria based on the shape. See the examples for Bacilli: Bacillus anthracis. And example for one Spirilla is Helicobacter pylori. And example for Cocci is Streptococcus pneumonia. Vibrio is Vibrio cholerae. So cholera disease is caused by this comma-shaped bacteria. So according to number and arrangement of flagella, again 6 more types of bacteria are there. What are they? Monotrichus, Lophotrichus, Amphitrichus, Peritrichus, Atrichus, Cephalotrichus. Now I will explain what is this. Okay, come here. Monotrichus. See, monotrichus. Mono means single. Trichus means that is flagellum. Okay, those who have single flagellum, they are called as monotrichus. See, the best example is Vibrio cholerae. Yes, Vibrio cholerae is the best example for monotrichus type of bacteria. Then next is Lophotrichus. In your book it is given. The second one is Lophotrichus. Lopho means a tuft of flagellum present in both the sides. See, both the sides a tuft of flagellum is present. That is Lophotrichus. The best example is Pseudomonas bacterias. That species of bacteria is the best example. Then third one is Amphitrichus. Amphibians. Do you know what is amphibians? Amphibians can live both in water as well as on land. Yes. So amphi means both, two places, like that. That is the meaning. In 2 places. See the flagellum. Here in this corner one flagellum. In that corner one flagellum. So both the corners flagellum are there. So that's why it is called as Amphitrichus. The best example is Rhodospirillum rubrum. Rhodospirillum rubrum. That type of bacteria is the best example. Then fourth one is Peritrichus. Best example is Escherichia coli. In the previous drill we studied the internal structure of E. coli only. We studied the internal structure of E. coli. See here, Peritrichus. Peri means all the sides. Throughout the cell wall, all the whatever place it will arise. The flagellum is equally distributed throughout the bacterium. That is peri. Peri means all surrounding the bacterium. Then fifth one is Atrichus. The best example is Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Okay, Atrichus. See here, there is no flagellum. A means nothing, no. It is not there. That is the meaning. So atrichous means there is no flagellum. Then sixth one is cephalotrichus. Okay. The example is Pseudomonas species. So what is cephalotrichus? A tuft of flagellum present in one side. That is cephalotrichus. If suppose only one flagellum is present at one side, that is called as monotrichus. Same way, a tuft of flagellum more than one present at one corner, it started from one corner, means cephalotrichus. Here only little confusing, should be very clear about this. Mono means single flagellum, cephalo means tuft of flagellum at one end. Okay, this is the types of bacterium. Next, we are going to see some general types of bacteria. For example, some bacteria are like plants, it can able to produce food. They are called as cyanobacteria. See, this is the cyanobacterium, cocci bacteria. It is arranged like a chain. Yes, this is the best example of photosynthetic bacteria. And another type is there in bacteria, chemobacteria. What is chemobacteria? Instead of using this sunlight, some bacteria use some chemicals help. With the presence of chemicals, they can produce food. Okay, so they are called as chemobacteria. And one more type is there. They show some relationship, symbiotic relationship. So they are called as symbiotic bacteria. If you studied in some lessons, like agriculture related lessons, some symbiotic bacteria are helping for the fixation of nitrogen. Okay, they fix atmospheric nitrogen and convert it to a proper mode, and it is helping for the plants. Some other bacteria exhibit symbiotic relationship. Example, Escherichia coli. It lives in the intestine of human beings. Bacteria reproduce by fission, that is binary fission and multiple fission. The third microorganism is fungi. Okay, it is an eukaryotic organism. The cells are advanced. It's not a prokaryotic cells. They have proper nucleus. The cells are advanced. So eukaryotes. And fungi means they don't have chloroplast. The chlorophyll pigments are missing in fungi. So they lack chlorophyll. They cannot synthesize the food. Okay. And what is mycology? Studying about fungus is called mycology. And some fungi may be unicellular, some fungi may be multicellular. Both we are going to see today. And 17,000 varieties of fungi, species of fungi are there in this world. Okay. First, we are going to see the best example of unicellular fungi is yeast. Okay. We are adding yeast in bakery items. So this is the oval shape of yeast. This is unicellular fungi, and see the outermost cell membrane, outermost cell wall, inner to that cell membrane. And if you go inside, the cytoplasm is there, the living material is there, and small nucleus, but you could see a big size vacuole. That is the specialty of yeast. The vacuole is big compared to nucleus. Okay, and here and there the mitochondria and ribosomes, they are scattered here and there. Other cell organelles are scattered. This is the simple structure of yeast cell. And next we are going to see multicellular fungi, mushroom. Okay, mushroom only we are going to see. That is the best example. If it is possible, you can try to take any mushroom during rainy season. You could see and analyze the structure. Okay, mushroom is, this is the structure of mushroom. See, this is the main body. This is the mycelium. This is the main body of the algae. Okay, mushroom. And actually, it is called as hyphae. It is branched in it is branched, and they are called as hyphae, and this is the reproductive part of the mycelium. Okay, they are called, it is looking like an umbrella like top, a cap like portion is there. It is looking like an umbrella shape. See, a small stalk is arised from the mycelium region, stalk, and at the top of the stalk a cap is fixed upside down, and if you split and open and see inside the cap, you could see the gills, how fish is having gills. Same way, small partitions are there. You can open and see the gills, and inside you could see small black colored dots. They are spores, nothing spores. So these mushrooms able to reproduce by the help of spores. And one more reproduction is there. One is spore formation. The second one is fragmentation. Fragmentation means nothing. The mycelium, no, the hyphae will divide into many portions. Here, here, here. They cut into many pieces. Each and every piece went out from the mother hyphae. It will develop into a child. Okay. So that is the reproduction of mushrooms. And if you see the cell wall of the hyphae, chitin and cellulose, these are the two chemicals present in the cell wall of the hyphae. The fungus may be saprophytes, or it may be parasites, or it may lead symbiotic life. Okay, what is meant by saprophytes? Saprophytes live on dead and decaying matter. It cannot produce the food. It will take the food from dead and decaying materials. Okay, the best example is agaricus. And parasites, this also cannot prepare their own food. They live inside the host cells. Okay, example Puccinia. And symbionts means they live in a living being. For example, leguminous plants, roots inside some fungus will go and live, or inside the soil also they may live. And what is the duty of them? They will fix the nitrogen and helping the plants. From the plants, it suck the food. So both are plants as well as the fungus are helping each other. So they are called as symbiotic fungi. So fungi is, that's all. The fourth organisms are algae. Okay. See here, many algae are there. Chlamydomonas, it is the best example for unicellular algae, and these are multicellular algae. Walnuts also unicellular algae, but it live in like a group, a colony. So colonial form. It is a colonial form. Ulothrix, it is like a filament, multicellular algae. And see, Fischella, alva. These are all marine algae. Do you know the word alva? Do you like to eat the sweet alva? Yes, the sweet name came from the algal name. Okay, because the sweet texture is very soft. The same texture is there for this algae also, alva. That's why we get the sweet name from this algal name. And Hydrodictyon, this is also a multicellular algae. Now come to algae, the general features of algae. It is a eukaryote. Yes, of course, like fungus, it is not a prokaryotic organisms. A proper nucleus is there, and it always live in the habitat of moist places like bathrooms, near the tank wall, or near the shore or seashore, or river banks and all. And it is spread out the lake, entire lake also. That's why it is called as grass of water. Grass means it is looking like a green patch. Full river is covered with algae sometimes. So algal blooms. It is also called as algal bloom. And it may be autotrophic automatically. It is green in color, no? So it has chloroplasts. So with the help of chloroplasts, it can produce their own food. And studying about algae is called as algology. Algology or phycology. Both the terms we are using. And now the best example of unicellular algae is Chlamydomonas. See the structure. The Chlamydomonas may be oval shape, are sphere shaped, pear shaped, or spherical shaped. The shape may vary, but the basic structures are the same. See, outermost cellulose cell wall. The cell wall is having the chemical cellulose. Okay, inner to that, the limited cytoplasm is there. But which is prominent? The green color cup shaped, U shaped chloroplast. Yes, this is the chloroplast, green cup shaped chloroplast. That is the peculiar feature of Chlamydomonas. And this is a pyrenide region. In this pyrenide region only, they stores the food. Okay. See the inner portion of the cup shape, the U shape. Inner to that shape only, the small nucleus is present, and even mitochondria, Golgi complex, also some cell organelles also present because it is advanced. And see, we have sense organs, nose, tongue, and all. So instead of that, the Chlamydomonas have one eye spot like our sense organ, and at the top of the anterior portion is somehow sharp. The posterior region is blunt, but the anterior region is sharp. Here, two contractile vacuoles are there. From that contractile vacuoles, the flagellum arises. Yes, two flagellae are there. Flagellum is singular, flagellae is plural. They wipe the flagellae and help them for movement, locomotion. So this is the structure of Chlamydomonas. Next still is, see here, this is another example, multicellular algae, Oscillatoria. We saw one unicellular algae. This is the internal, see, it is like a filament, ribbon-like shaped, right? What is the name of this algae means? Oscillatoria. How it gets the name means, it always oscillates the filament in water, like a clock. How the pendulum is to and fro movement is there. Yes, it always, the pendulum is oscillating. The same way, the algae Oscillatoria oscillates in water, fresh water. It lives only in fresh water. So some marine water, I told you alga and all marine water algae. This is the best example of freshwater algae. So that's all about algae. The fifth organisms are protozoans. Okay, it comes under the kingdom Protista. And studying about protozoans are called protozoology. And why we want to study this? It causes diseases to human beings, even animals also. And if you see the size, the measurement may be 2 micron, from 2 micron to 200 microns. And the specialized organs of the protozoans are helping for their movement. So based on the specialized organ helping, which is helping for movement, locomotion, we can divide the protozoans into 3-4 types. 4 types. Here I wrote 4 types. The first one is ciliates. Okay. See, the best example is paramecium for ciliates. This is the structure of paramecium. It's like a chapel shape. Yes, cilia is present. See, throughout the body, throughout the full cell wall, produces small hair-like outgrowths, cilia. So they are helping for movement. And next is flagellates. Yes, they don't have cilia. Instead of cilia, they have only one flagellum at the top. So this is Euglena. The best example for flagellates is Euglena. See the picture? Only one flagellum at the top. Even this also photosynthetic. They can be able to produce the food flagellates. And the third is sporozoans. Plasmodium is the best example. Like it also looks like paramecium. More or less the shapes are same. Okay. See, plasmodium is like this, rod shape, lightly pending. Okay. This is the sporozoans. And the last one is pseudopods. The best example of pseudopods is amoeba. So amoeba internal structure only next we are going to study. The best example for pseudopods, the fourth type is amoeba. So this is the shape. Actually there is no proper shape. Shapeless organism. The best example for shapeless organism is amoeba. Okay. But here some lobes are there. These are called pseudopods. With the help of these pseudopods only, they are moving from one place to another place. See the structure? Outermost cell wall is there. Yes. The inner to that protoplasm is there. Protoplasm is divided into two. Ectoplasm, outermost portions are ectoplasm. Inner protoplasm is called as endoplasm. So two protoplasm is divided into ecto and endoplasms. At the middle, more or less at the middle, the nucleus is present. Here and there, the food vacuoles are there. See, normal vacuole, this is food vacuole. Inside the food vacuole only, food is present. How it is captured means with the help of the pseudopods. Suppose any vacuole comes, any food, the prey comes here, a small virus or something, some dust particles will come in water. That time the pseudopods know it catch hold the prey and it engulf the prey. So it will change the prey into food vacuole and send the food vacuole inside to the cell. Then the food vacuole is digested, the food is digested inside the food vacuole and it is distributed with the help of diffusion. Okay, because through the process of diffusion, the food is distributed throughout the cell. And this is the contractile vacuole. This also helping to excrete the unwanted materials. Okay, how the food is engulfed inside, the same way the excreta, the waste things, it will be put forth outside with the help of contractile vacuole. So students, we studied first 5 microorganisms: virus, bacteria, algae, fungi, protozoans. So more or less half of the lessons were over. So try to read well and go through the book and study well. Thank you.